Thank you, Jane. Good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to see everyone here. I appreciate those people who have come from far away, from as far away as Melbourne, or even further than that. First of all, a few thank yous to Myron, the convener of Chamber Poets. Thank you, Myron, for launching the book here today. I'd also like to thank the proprietors of the Chamber Art and Coffee House, Philip and Kath, for being our generous hosts, as usual, for Chamber Poets. And to follow up on Jane, I would like to thank Michael Foster for all his work in selecting the poems, in carving from a large body of work something that is unified and I think complete in its own way. Thank you, Michael. Now, I must say, I am delighted to be launching the book here at Chamber Poets. Over the last 18 months, I've had the privilege of being able to come here and read, the privilege of being listened to, but more importantly, the great delight of listening to my fellow poets, listening to them, understanding how they work, what they do. Coming to grips with their visions has been enormously beneficial to me as a writer, and I would like to thank them all for their support. All right, well, I'm going to read a few poems from the collection. I like to think I have a few different styles that I experiment with. Long narrative poems, of which I'll be reading two today, and shorter poems which my attempts to fix or to capture moments and images. I tend to write pretty much what's in front of me, which, considering where I write, involves a lot of looking through the window. As I said, I'll read. I'm sorry about dodging the mic so often. Today I'll read 6 poems. The first is an extract from the title poem, Still Life with Grandmother. I'll follow that with some shorter poems and then finish again with a longer narrative poem. The long narrative poem is about my grandmother. She was born in Manchester in 1897, came out here as a young bride in the 20s, lived in various places including Port Augusta, which I'm told is not a very nice place to live, and died in Melbourne in 1997 at the age of 101. So because of the length of her life, I was actually able to write quite a long poem about her. I will just read an extract now. Actually, I've got a little preface, if you don't mind. What I'm going to read is actually a description of a game of cards, or sort of cards that the family used to play. My grandmother would come on the weekends, stay with us, and often we would play bridge in the evenings. And this is a description of such a game, I think from around about 1969. Eyes narrowed against the rising smoke, pressing the cards, pressing the cards into service. They had their faces, and those without had numbers. It did not matter to my grandmother. They all, each of them, would be pressed firmly into her service, to do her will. And the rules, those we other 3 players, pressed to our chairs around the green baize, knew for better, knew for worse. The rules, they had nothing to do with it. She was silent behind her towering pillar of ash, pressing pale fingers, pressing the hapless kings, queens, the numberless numbered into service. It was mother and son's auction bridge. Stanza 1.